primitive stuff is really.
Well, she can do it. I think it's perfect. She can
I
get
actually
paid.
contacted her one time, but she said, go through SRB.
Yeah, it's just,
Then that's fine.
I get so many on that. I get.
This is working. It's not critical.
Oh, yeah,
Now, what are you trying to make at this stage? You working on what part, the blade or the tank?
Both. I'm just drawing it out
Yeah.
to a size that'll work.
For the tang or the blade?
Both.
Okay.
I'll first make it.
You're bringing it down to quarter and.
Yeah, I bring it down to, well, a bit more than a quarter and a bit less than 1 inch.
Yep.
And so when I have that, then I'll make a tang and I'll forge down the blade.
Okay.
It's also so steel.
So you're just taking it down to about orange, and that's as far as you're going?
Yeah.
To dull orange?
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll get cracking?
With plain steel you have a bit more leeway, but if you go down too low, you'll start taking the layers apart.
Okay. Okay.
Not to mention, it also stops moving.
Snow skiing, and
You still got three.
Forging out the tang?
Yeah.
Okay. You realize this is going on YouTube, all right? Working on the blade now?
Yeah.
Okay. Drawing out the edge?
Yep.
Okay.
There's a scratch pattern I like.
Working on the heel?
Just seeing if it,
Straight?
yeah, if it aligns properly.
Okay.
Yeah, this is fine.
Okay.
That looks good, Bruno.
Yeah, so what I'll do now is make it hot again. I take it out and leave it to cool gently.
Okay.
And when it's cooled off, I can start grinding.
Okay.
Then what steel was this again?
15 and 20 and 1095.
Yeah.
I think that's what.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. What you got? Okay. It's forged out into the rough shape, rough taper at this point? Okay. Now you're just gonna let air cool for a while?
Yeah, air cool for a while. And then I can start the grinding first, and then I'll do the outlining.
Yeah.
Then I'll start making a pivot hole and grinding and all that.
Okay.
Rip them off!
it on the edge. Why were you cracking on the edge? How come?
I'm making it narrower
Yeah.
and a little longer because it's going to get wider again when I forge bevels on it.
Okay. Okay.
It's going to end up wider than that because the stock is
Oh, yeah.
bigger than it needs to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a reverse smile in it.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be into that curve. That's, yeah, I thought it was going to be down at the bottom of that curve.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just using it as a space.
That, for razors, I think is all you need. Probably so. And then you don't jam your leg in the hole. The nice thing is, you got a 90-degree angle, you've got a razor. Yeah, I'm getting it. It's good to live near your angle. He's doing auctions things all the time. I'm just gonna rely on other people. I've got one good camera that's got it hooked up to microscope. I don't want to get one off. Otherwise it'd be fighting it. What is that big much bigger stock.
Well, it's a razor.
Okay, so at this point you're done forging.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
All right.
You could go further if you really wanted to, but you're still going to have to grind anyway.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 1095. Flat stock. Quarter inch by 1. Okay.
I've already got two, so I let it go. I couldn't bring myself. It's like I didn't. I've got two post files. I've got two ends. And this one's serial number was in the low 700. It's a new intermediate and old version of it. But this one predated the old version. This one translated an extra dozen hours. Very close spot. There is a guy in Nebraska that will buy them right out of the for $1,500. They'll still have to be delivered. I can play with them. I can figure out how to do it. The little giant power company still exists. When I was in college, I shattered my kneecap. I came home to visit on the farm, and I jumped in the bar with an arm load.
There you are.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, Randy. How you doing? Good. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you, guy.
Not this one. How are you, man? Hello? I'm Bruno. I'm Bruno.
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 Yeah.
Heads up, Bill.
So how far is that guy?
Straight race with the giveaway there. Okay?
But yeah, it's confusing when people become more familiar with it. Other people don't know what you're talking about. And the only reason I think it's COVID was because for years.
So that one was to start drawing out the edge of the blade, right? Okay.
I was just looking for a variance that I remember.
Now you're using this size hammer for the rough work, and I think it was Bruno was using this one. That's a 2 and that's a 3. On those.
Get more work done. I'm just babying my arm.
Yeah. So it's pretty much an individual thing as to what size hammer you use.
You know, some of it I'm trying to think ahead of what you're trying to film. So if I do more heats,
Yep.
you get more chances to get a good shot of what you want
Yep.
to show somebody.
Yep. Okay. This will well.
We're going to continue that.
That brings
This one's going to have a little more of a smile to it. There'll be more of a smile in it.
Yep.
I got one guy that got ran off of SRP. They just big dog.
Randy had said that there was a discussion on Facebook. We got the impression on Facebook that there is an attitude of SRP people being convenience. And I guess I can see that coming across sometimes, which is unfortunate.
It is what it is. I mean, you'll see people talking about, well,
Now you're looking to get it straight, even?
Yeah. A little straight.
Yep. Okay.
At least across the spine, and then I want to look and make sure that the bevel's in the middle, and I have a little more to do.
Okay.
The other thing I could do, rather than just simply flattening it out, I've got this curve right here. If I wanted to straighten it out, I just got to hammer along the top edge, and then spread the steel and straighten it out. No different than what Howard did by curving it first, anticipating he's going to straighten it out as the edge gets thinner. In this case, I kind of want a little bit of a smile to it.
Okay.
So that's where I'm going, just a little different.
Right. So you got the tang a little bit tapered, shaped. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is your outline of what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right here, starting point for ideas, just rough guide.
Yeah.
This is about 3 inches here.
Yeah.
Right there. And-
Normally I do 2.5, 275.
Okay.
Then was giving me crap about making 3-inch blades, so
Yeah, I understand.
this will be a 3-inch blade.
Okay, make him smile
Yeah.
at least once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, so that's our starting. Good enough. So what is your approach? What's the first step? You're going to grind off the excess first?
Yeah. So what I do is I take the angle grind,
Yeah.
cut off the excess of the point,
Okay.
cut off the tail,
Okay.
grind into this,
Yeah.
because the angle grinder is much better at removing metal than
Yeah.
the belt
Yeah.
grinder.
Okay.
And as soon as I have more or less a rough outline, I start to shape the outline with the belt grinder.
Okay. Good enough.
That's what I'll do.
So the first thing is cut it off with the angle grinder. Okay. Okay. All right, now we got a 36 grit on here. Going up on YouTube. That's a good
So now
Yeah.
what I'm going to do now is initial hollow grinding.
Okay.
So first I do the taper of the tank
Yeah.
part way.
Yep.
And then when I do the hollow grinding, I align my hollow grinding
Yep, with the tank.
with the tank.
Yep. Okay. Alrighty.
Victor, what are you doing?
I do my rough grind, different than everyone here, and Charlie will make a demonstration. Okay. So I use a mixture.
How's that working? We got a 220 grit on there now. We jumped from a 60 to 220. We slowed down the speed on the grinder.
I don't have to care about the taper of the tang.
Taper, okay.
Because the hole is just a bit wider than 1/16.
Yeah.
So I can just put it flat, drill through,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
with the angle it won't be a problem.
Yeah, if you use a 16th, you have to have everything flat.
Yes.
So you have the right angle on the
Yeah.
hole.
And if you go 332,
Yeah,
you can
got
just
some slop.
yeah, exactly.
Where this is 1 millimeter and parallel.
Sorry, what is 1 millimeter? Oh, the width.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And parallel.
Yep.
And then my wheel sits here. So I calculate with the wheel diameter, when I come in half the blade thickness minus 20 thousandths, I need to know where the wheel exits the blank. And so I calculate that, and that determines my table height relative to the wheel. Okay? So when I first came up with this, I was using a 1/2 inch wide wheel. And I just set the table, set the fence, pulled the razor through, stuck a shim behind it, pulled the razor through, stuck a shim behind it, pulled the razor through. So the shim was my feed in. And then when I got to halfway through minus 20 thousandths, I stopped, and the reveal was left up. And I leave about 1/8 before a heat treat. 1/8 of an inch reveal at the top of the spine. So then when I came down here, I demonstrated that, and everyone went, "Oh, that's weird."
Wow, somebody's using trigonometry.
They did.
That.
So,
Still does.
but I didn't know, and then I finished the razor on Charlie's grinder with a 2-inch belt, and I love this 2-inch belt, but I thought, how's that going to work with? I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it work with my system for the rough grind, and part of the problem is with a 1/2 inch wheel, 1/2 inch wide wheel, you know, I just basically enter and drag the razor across. Well, it's like, okay, a 2-inch wide belt, how do I enter? And how do I get it so that it's not just grinding on one corner of the belt? So I've set my table height, I calculated that on this fixture, and the fence I have is not parallel with the wheel. So I've got a little bit wider, like on this side, that's pretty tight, but on this side it's looser, right? So when I'm grinding, I'm gonna pull the razor this way.
Okay. That makes
So I'm grinding on the whole face of the belt. And then there was still, how do I start the grind? So this fixture does that.
So Victor, you've not done any grinding on that blade at all. That's just straight from.
No, I ground so I have the spine thickness.
Okay.
But it's flat.
Okay.
I mean, there's forging thing here, but the other side of it is flat.
So this is just basically almost like a flat grind to the thickness of the spine?
Right.
Okay.
And when I forge, if it's not flat, I fill it with Bondo and make it flat. So I've got a flat side for my fence.
Gotcha.
So
Are we ready? Yep.
Might not be the ideal location.
When you're dealing with that smile against that width of belt, it shouldn't, it seems like it has to be a narrow belt. Otherwise, that curvature of the belly is not going to follow the curve. Whoa.
What's the grid on the belt?
30.
36.
36?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna-
Wow.
I didn't
gonna
mean to
rip
do
off
that.
Beach
this,
sand.
It's a fit grip for moving that wet. It'll go right through a cowhide glove in less than a tenth of a second and down into the meat.
I can tell you a 50 will get to the meat quick.
I got some 24 grip belts once.
Smaller grits. The smaller grits will generate enough heat to actually
Once.
cauterize the wound.
Just got boulders glued down.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, so
So now, you saw how I was rocking that. So that makes, so the center of the wheel is up here, and when I'm rocking it, I'm just grinding that bottom part flat. And you can see how the grind is following my spine. It's really following the edge, but they're parallel. I need to rock down a little bit on this side. I couldn't quite see.
So the line that's cut in there, though, that in essence becomes your
Spine.
first grind line, and then from there, as you thin out further, then you take most of that out? I'm seeing a line, unless it's just a shadow. Up top here.
That's just, that's the
Yeah,
spine.
okay, so I
So
need
then the
to,
whole thing becomes the spine above that?
I'm
Are you
not
gonna-
following,
are you
but
gonna
I have
leave
to,
the
I
reveal?
need to go deeper,
Okay,
Yes,
which will bring this line up.
there you go.
okay,
Yep,
okay, okay.
yep.
That's what I was asking,
I think he refers to it as the reveal
the reveal.
on the
Okay,
side there, the side.
so
Okay,
the side of the spine is what he calls a reveal?
I think so.
Okay, that works.
What would be the equivalent of homeware?
Yes,
Well, not
but,
necessarily. If you were
now, do you
making a
refer to
regular
this
full
as the
frame,
reveal?
Yeah, what's left, yeah.
Yes,
and
exactly.
you left
Okay, yeah, he uses
a
that
nice
term.
thick piece across the top.
Okay,
Cut your grind
so
underneath.
I'm still 15 thousandths thicker. See, and I've got this nice flat side to measure to.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I need to go 15 thousandths.
What kind of an anvil you have on that thing? What kind of an anvil? Flat, round,
Oh,
pointed?
it's flat.
It's flat, okay,
Yeah, but I'm measuring on a flat.
okay, good enough.
So this is 7 thousandths. So now I'm gonna stick that in on my fence.
7 thousandths, what, is that plastic, piece of paper or
piece of
something?
paper.
Just a piece of paper, okay.
Sometimes I use new paper.
newspaper?
No.
New paper.
Oh, that's good, because that gets old and compressed, yeah.
So that's,
So I should speak up.
Speak clearer. I should have about 7 thousandths more to take off of this. And that's why I show 8.
Close counts at this age.
What's the paper for?
That was,
spacer.
okay, so I have my fence,
Yeah.
and I do a grind,
Yeah,
and now, then I measured my thickness.
yeah.
So this just brings, this is like the feed. 7 thousandths, now I take 7 thousandths more off.
Oh, okay.
So
And
shit.
as I'm coming in, this reveal line is moving up towards the spine. And I've calculated that to come out,
Oh, okay.
leaving about 1/8 of an inch reveal. Then when I do my finish grind, that reveal moves up because I do that freehand, but
Is there a stop on this to keep it from?
yes. So there's a, see, that's what this is.
You gotta stop there.
There's a stop.
So at
See, it's
any
hitting
point,
right, it's-
Victor, at any point,
Okay.
does your reveal line come up to the top of the sign?
I like to leave about a 1/16 or so.
Okay, okay. So you're leaving a little bit, whatever,
Yeah.
a little bit there, okay.
You don't have an adjustable stop on it, is it that same set all the time as well, use the spacer?
Yes.
it's not a,
Yep.
Yes.
whatever it ends up to be. it
Okay,
is.
so this
I
is
mean, it's
for,
adjustable when I do the first setup.
But see, if you look at it.
so this is principally, or you're using it principally for rough grinding
Yeah.
before heat treat? Okay.
Right.
Yep, gotcha.
I don't know
That's
where
just
it
cool.
went.
That's just plain cool.
Did I pass that out?
What?
Oh, I can pass that around if you want to see it, or I guess I'll do the next grind and then pass it around.
Okay.
So I went to a 15 thousandths shim,
15,000? Okay,
so roughly 7 thousandths per.
yep.
Yeah, but this one's thicker. 7,000, 8,000.
I can see how my reveal is a little bigger on the both sides, so that tells me I wasn't rocking down as far as I wanted to.
Okay, so I'm actually about 5 thousandths About 2 thousandths more than I wanted to be. So, I'll pass this around. So now I got one side done, and the problem is, how do I do the other side because I don't have a flat? I put a Bondo in there, sand it parallel with the back side, and flip it around.
Yeah. And it works.
Yeah, sure it will. And it gives me a blade that goes like that for my, you know, for the rough grind.
And your
And that's
setting
like,
remains
I don't have so much work to
Finish
do.
drawing post
so it
heat.
stays reproducible.
Yeah, and I don't have as much metal to take off to get the
So
full
it
hollow.
ends up being perfectly symmetrical.
Awesome.
Yep.
Very clever.
Annoyingly elegant.
Yep.
Annoyingly.
Well done, Victor.
Bondo can stand the heat.
Usually, the Bondo, the question was, does the Bondo stand the heat? It does pretty well, but because I've got a ground surface, there's no tooth there. And often, halfway through, the Bondo will start coming off. But it stays in one nice piece, and it fits there perfectly. And I just super glue it back on and finish.
Yeah, but then
Cool.
you got the thickness of the super glue.
I found out while I'm in camera was only shaking 2 pictures, and when trading it was full. I thought I had 8 gigabytes stored in there, and it was an 8 megabyte stored. I was wondering why I'm only getting 2 pictures.
It's actually nice when we peel it,
Yep.
go black again, which is nice because now you can see where the flats are.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Symmetrical on both sides.
Yep. That's nice.
You can see how I sway
Yep.
what I did with the spine here.
Yep.
They snap it a little bit. You see it on the pit.
Yep. Looking good. You're tapering this too. Okay. There you go. Yep. Okay. Gotcha.
So now I'll just take the 220 and clean it up. Then I'll do the notches.
Yep.
There's ready for me.
Okay. Now you have taken on a 220 belt and removed the 60 grit scratches
Yeah.
on the tank.
Yeah.
And flip it over on the other side.
I'm surprised it went well.
Yep, there you go. Okay. Yep, looks good.
Where are you at there?
20, so now we want to remove
Okay.
this. You use a 1-inch wheel and all the files and notches. Well, actually, then I have to chisel in my maker's mark.
So what?
After I make the notches, I don't know, file, and then I have to use a chisel to make my maker's mark.
Yeah.
I use chisel.
Okay. It's a 220 grit belt put on to remove the scratches from the 60 grit.
Oh, we're doing decorative file work now, eh?
What do you have here?
Yep. Putting the bevel on there. Okay. Yep.
See the kind of stuff you learn with my
Okay.
I put a bevel on it.
Yep.
Because if you're working it with your thumb, it's much more comfortable to have this cut off. Otherwise, you're
A little bit prickly.
yeah.
Yep. A little bit too sharp if you don't do that. Okay. What's next?
Now all that's left is to chisel in my maker's mark.
Like a Buddhist monastery about a half hour out of town. We took a ride after that. Taxi ride, a half hour taxi ride. He stood in the parking lot an hour and a half for us. Then we poured around, brought us back. We had 2.5 hours to his time. We were like $7 or $8 or $12 a night. Usually a Facebook jam. Here's where they say real wait on you. You take a taxi somewhere and go sit outside for an hour and wait on you. Come back and take you back.
Yeah, that's plenty hot. It's getting bright in here.
So you like a slower heat up on your...
I want a gentle fire and I don't want 1,000 degrees C
Okay.
if I can avoid it.
Okay.
I guess I should probably switch to Fahrenheit.
Well, most guys would take and have this thing going full blast
Right.
to heat it up fast.
Yeah, that's the deceiving thing about it.
And then you overheat the edge by 300 degrees and get great big chunky grains and
Okay.
it doesn't work right.
Okay.
When I was doing Max had sent me some Sumidagashi steel. Or no, it was the stuff from Dick Biz.
Yeah,
There's a big chunk, big 3 thick layers he wanted to roll down. And I said, well, I've never done it. It could come apart, but send me the spec sheet. And it wanted, 1,500 Fahrenheit as a forging temperature. By the time I got the forge dialed in on the thermocouple, just like we're doing now, I'm looking at a fire that's about like that going, this is too low. And when it comes out, it was more of an orange, sort of reddish looking stuff. Rolled through the rolling mill and forged like butter. It was unbelievable. But blacksmiths, us, stack makers, were oftentimes very guilty of thinking if little's good, more is better.
Oh yeah.
We tend to run too high.
Okay.
And then, but via Howard and others, we've come up with methods to correct the problem. And it is true. I mean, if you're bashing on steel with a hand hammer, you like it to be more plastic and doughy because it's harder. It's not as hard on your arm. You get more work done at a higher heat, but then you have to compensate for what you're doing to the internal structure of the steel by doing a grain reduction.
Okay.
Cutting the tape. Might as well be prepared.
What are you going to do? These water quench it or?
Nah, it's an oil can. There's no sense in getting crazy.
Thermal cycle?
I don't know, did you?
No.
I thermocycled it a couple of times and I annealed it in the oven overnight.
So it wouldn't hurt
Wouldn't hurt to...
to cycle it one more time.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna have more scale to clean up because of it, but
Yeah.
it'll be okay. you said 1095 and 15 and 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, old time permits guarantee is a little hard to build.
Now, what are you looking for, Howard?
I'm looking for a color shift upward to tell me that it changed to perlite, so I can put it back in the fire.
Okay.
I gotta have a shadow to hide it in.
You got a shadow on the edge, okay.
Just kind of cool. Try that when it's dark.
Yeah, it needs to be darker.
It's called, the phenomenon is called recoalescence. Decoalescence and recoalescence, and knowing where the color
Rag
change
for the
happens
oil.
tells you a lot about the quality of the steel.
How's that?
That you're at the right
In a while you want it.
Okay.
So as it cools
Says you
down,
want it in a
it's
little
actually
while.
moving
Yeah.
to a dark, like a black color, and then all of a sudden the blue
Really?
get hotter. And that's just that transition from one crystal structure to the other.
I'll be damned. Okay.
Still gonna be a little hotter than I want it to be, but it'll be okay. You kind of miss that. You know, that's what it smelled like anyway. Like what? Canola? Yeah. Well, it's hard. I don't know how you're gonna temper it. Oven?
Gotcha.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay.
I might cool on down to ambient.
Okay, Howard,
Thank you.
you quenched an oil.
Yeah.
You got it down to a temp. Why didn't you put it in water? Cool it
There's
down.
no need to unless you're in a hurry.
Okay.
It's safer for the steel to cool down to room temperature at air
At room
cooling
Okay.
over time. The cracking, if it's going to occur, occurs between the time martensite starts to form, which is about 450 degrees as you're in the quench, on the way down to room temp.
Okay.
That's when the cracks happen. So if you take it out of the oil and you slam it right in the water,
You're looking for potential.
well, you probably wouldn't crack it because of the materials and what we did in controlled temperatures, but there's no reason to take the risk.
Okay. All right.
Most of my knives and razors and everything that's not a sword, basically, in my shop, I austenitize, heat it up in a high temperature salt pot, which is running at the same temperature ranges, but it's a stainless steel pipe full of mixed chloride salts. And you immerse the blade in the liquid, so you can't overheat it because it can only get as hot as the liquid it's in.
Yeah.
There's no scale because it's inside a liquid with no oxygen
Yep.
to cause scale. But then I also quench in low temperature salt, which is operating at about 450 degrees
Okay.
Fahrenheit, and that's what I quench in. So all it does is cool it fast enough to avoid making perlite, but it's not actually martensite until it cools down to room temperature.
Okay.
It's trapped in a condition that's called metastable austenite, which just metastable means it's going to be something else soon,
Okay.
and then it becomes martensite as it cools
Okay.
down to ambient, or if you really want to be a hard ass about it, it probably should be thrown in the freezer if you want 100%.
Okay.
But if you control the austenitizer temperature and the grain size, there's no point in fucking with that either.
Okay.
Yeah, which is that whole liquid nitrogen.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
That's cheap insurance for you botched the heat treatment in the first place. If you pay attention to the grain size and control the temperatures, it's unnecessary with simple steels.
Okay. So with simple steels.
Yeah.
Okay.
So think carbon steel versus stainless.
Yeah, stainless steels generally all benefit from it because they all have a higher percentage retained austenite from the heat treat in the first place. And if you're making gauge blocks out of D2 that you want to be 1 inch, 1.000, it's beneficial for dimensional stability.
Okay.
But in my world, it's just an unnecessary expense. Need a straight peen hammer and more heat. We'll borrow Randy's hammer, he won't mind. Will you?
Nope.
Okay, now if somebody didn't have one of them, could you jury rig this?
Absolutely.
Aye.
It doesn't make no difference what it is, just
Stick
stick
a
a long here.
Aye.
It'd be nice if you didn't have sharp corners,
Okay.
but anything will work. There's nothing critical about it. You don't need to get real carried away with it. Really should have a little bit bigger gap, but this is the one I could get my hands on quick.
Yep.
This is going to end up going the other way.
Right.
When you taper it this way, because it'll spread the other direction. That might be far enough, it might not be quite far enough. I don't know.
Okay.
Depends on how much working you're going to do on the belt.
My angle is right here is to give me a baseline off of this jig, and that way then I can go freehand and get the rest of it down to that scribe line. I've never made anything over 9.
That razor that you take on the video of my razor, remember when I made the video tape with my razor? Is that a 10-inch? Or is that an 8-inch?
He's going to demonstrate how he does his finish hollow grinding on this one. The one he's been working on is still in tempering.
Okay, so now we just have.
Okay. Got a point. Yep. Okay.
So I'm just going to show you how I do it.
Yep. Yep.
So I start off. I start off in the top of the hollow.
Can I see that a second?
Top of the hollow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's still pretty fine.
Yeah. Okay, but the principle works the same. You hear it? So as soon as you hear a high pitch, you're close to the edge.
Okay. The higher the pitch, the closer you are to the edge. So you're using sound in addition to touch. You're moving it up and down.
Yeah. See, so I'm moving closer and closer.
Big track. Oh, yeah. Next time. Yeah, it was a nice 8/8, beautiful. I should send it to Mike. That was a big one. Mike.
Going up and down, left and right.
Yeah.
Judging it based on feel and sound.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Mine just actually is just a regular old machine.
Never thought using sound.
Looks like a cabin, right?
So every so often I check, and you can see it in the middle. I'm already there.
Okay.
And here is just a bit of material left. And so I look at the edge.
Look at the edge.
And I try to do like the thumbnail test.
Yep.
And when the thumbnail starts gripping, I know it's not there.
Okay. When you do the thumbnail test and it starts to grip, then you know you're flying enough. Okay.
Now you can see the edge.
Yep. Foil on the edge. Yep.
Yeah, that's when I stop.
Okay.
So I know for sure that if there's a bit of foil,
Yep.
when the foil is honed away,
Yep.
it'll be a perfect edge.
Okay.
And that's how I make my valve always small.
Okay.
Because I always grind to the point where it starts to foil.
Yep.
So if you put this on the stone, you have a perfect edge.
Okay. Yep.
Basically that's how that's
Okay.
all there is to it.
Okay. All right.
And especially with if you normally after hollow grinding, after heat treatment, I use a 120 grit.
Yeah.
So this is a bit too fine actually, but
Yep.
if at 120 you can roll it and the sound is quite recognizable.
Okay.
All the way down?
I think you got it. Huh?
If you do your thumbnail,
Nice stroke. Good stroke. Very good.
one side of the chip.
Looks like it to me.
So it's my pull one that wasn't matching.
So we're done with that.
Well, that's all right.